here and we will get started. Let me see where is it's gonna hide from me for a minute. There we go. No, there we go. All right. You should be able to see me, but now you're going to see as I bring up the title slide, Thriving at E-commerce, Nail It Before You Scale It. So if you'll let me know that in the chat box that everything is showing up, that you see that screen in front of you. And now you'll probably see me and the screen and that you can hear me. So you'll see the slide in front of you, Thriving at E-commerce. Perfect. Perfect, Candida. Thank you. Thank you to Michael and Candida for helping me out here by making sure that everybody does see this and hear this. All right, first order of business for everybody is find that chat box because the chat box is the only place that I can hear you. I do want to keep your mics off, so please do that because we are recording this and we want it to be a good experience for everybody here. Plus, it's really distracting when there is noise and microphones in the background. There's other conversations, so make sure that your video and your microphone are turned off. You are good to go, that you're ready to listen and to take notes. Thank you, Maria, for being here as well. The second thing after you find that chat box is just to give a shout out there. Let us know what your business is. I would love to hear that. And I'm also going to drop in there where you can just click on there to get the copy of today's slides and the handout that I'm using. So I'm going to drop that right now in the chat box there. And then I'm going to come back here and actually show that on the screen. So while we're in session, you're actually going to be able to download a copy of this. Remember, it's important to be able to not just click on it, but to download a copy of it because you want to keep it because after the session's over, it's not going to be available until it's emailed to you. And you might want to apply what you're learning right away, right? So you don't want to wait for the recording for later today or the next day because it could be tomorrow. And you might want to be able to follow along with this already, or maybe you're on a mobile device, and this will help you be able to follow along and see the screen. Okay, so just take a screenshot of that you're going to use, or click on the link, I should say, also that you could use here. Once again, it's in the chat. So it's really important for everybody to find the chat. All right, we're about to launch into everything. Again, I want to say many thanks, many thanks to SCORE, because SCORE is the only reason that this is happening and they are truly vested in your success. So please look at the recorded webinars that are there. Tap into all the resources that you have at SCORE because they are free, and people who already have put the time, sweat, and energy in and have discovered what best practices are and how they can support you, and even who your local people are. They are able to refer and recommend. They are your SCORE chapter, so your SCORE mentors. Please lean into them. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can thrive at e-commerce to nail it before you scale it. So let me go ahead and get going in here. Now that people are coming in the room as well, one last time, I'm going to drop how you can get a copy of the handout and the slides right now. You can download that while we're in session. My name is Maria Elena Duran. If this is your first time in a session with me, would you put the number 1 in the chat box? Because I'd love to know if this is your first time. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm excited that you're here. And we're going to end 2024 really strong, talking about how you can thrive, not just survive. So welcome, Laura. Okay, I see some people who are new here. Just so that you know, everybody who's new, I keep it really interactive. So that chat box is an important friend to you because that's the only way I can customize and make sure that your time here is an investment and not just spent, because I can only hear you in that chat box. We're going to keep those microphones off, okay? But make sure you find that. And then, of course, as I said before, you've got a copy of the slides that you can get to you already. You just need to download those. And if you don't see that link, just let me know in the chat box too. I do, again, keep it interactive. I like to celebrate when people apply what they learn. So if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see my handle on X or Twitter, which is at Maria Duran, or me on Instagram, which is Marketing Coach Maria. The reason I bring these up is because, again, I like to celebrate when people have truly applied what they've learned. And that's why I'm such a big fan of SCORE mentors, because they truly help you with the application. This is not edutainment. And the myth is that wisdom is and knowledge is power. And it's not. It is not power until it is applied. So that's why we want to talk so much about applying. All right. This is who I am. Of course, I've been on the Google team for 7.5 years. For those of you who don't know me, I've been in 20 plus years in digital marketing. I have been in 16 of those years in international e-commerce. I know the digital space really well. This is where I live, and I really understand how you can practically get found in Google, because I do understand also that you're trying to take care of your customers. When you're trying to be butcher, baker, and candlestick maker, and now try to apply e-commerce, be chief analyst, chief of ads, chief of marketing, that's a lot of roles that you're taking on. And I help you do that in a way that still gives you the ability to focus on what matters most, which is what you love to do and taking care of your customers. So today we're going to be talking about why do you want to sell online? And then also how you can be seen, because even though there are different ways to search now, and we know that because people are using ChatGPT, Bing GPT, Perplexity, AI, so those are all artificial intelligence tools, and then as well as Google, or they're discovering products on TikTok, or they're discovering them on Instagram. So there are many places that you can be seen. But we know that when people are ready to buy, when they're making that decision and they're looking for information, they go to look at Google. So understanding how Google search works and showing up high in search is on us as small business owners. And what we learn here works for YouTube search, because that's also owned by Google. It also works for all of the search engines. So what's good for Google is good to make sure that you're visible in all search. We'll talk about how you can expand your reach, how your e-commerce store can be more than just a price tag, and different revenue streams. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in, and we'll talk about why you should sell online. Now, by the show of number 2 in the chat box, how many of you have an e-commerce store already? All right, I'd love to know. Just let me know with the number 2 in the chat box. Okay, so everybody's new to e-commerce. Is that a correct assumption, or do we have some e-commerce people here already? Is everybody in here brick and mortar? With just you can put Y or yes in there if you're brick and mortar. Okay, so I do see some e-commerce virtual consulting. Yes, absolutely. And you can sell virtual consulting through e-commerce. You can use any of the e-commerce platforms for that, from Shopify to WooCommerce. You definitely could do that and package that. So Michael, thank you. All right, anybody else want to share if you're an e-commerce store? For those of you that are e-commerce, so that's Candida and Michael. Michael sells virtual consulting. Candida, if you would like to share what you sell, I'd love to know, and I can customize this even more for you and your products that you're selling. All right, let's talk about why we need to sell online. In 2020, a lot of things happened, right? But we know we went from looking and searching online to living online. People truly live online. And because of that, we've made a lot of changes about how and what we expect. For example, back in 2020, we were amazed and really delighted when somebody like our local food place or restaurant or grocery store started delivering to us, right? Because we didn't have that before. But now in 2024, as we end that up and kick off into 2025, we expect that. In fact, we're kind of upset when our place, our favorite place, does not deliver to your doorstep. So there's that expectation. It's just like when Amazon started. You know, we all were excited to get deliveries from Amazon, and now we all believe that things should be available on our doorstep by that afternoon, or at least in 24 hours, right? We believe in 24-hour free shipping. So let me see. Tea and essential. Oh, perfect. Other wellness products, all geared to holistic living. Thank you, Candida. I appreciate you sharing that, because that'll help me talk a little bit more, because there's a lot you can do with tea and e-commerce, and things that you can showcase within video, even different recipes and how it's sourced, and the experience of how it's grown, different temperature levels that you can have it. You can put about that in blog posts or even in videos. So you can put that in YouTube shorts or even long form shorts. Military occasion cards. Perfect, Stephen, because that will also help you as you package that up, a nice visual, because when people are giving cards, they're giving an experience. So what can you do in making sure they have that experience, and the person that's receiving the card has the same sort of feeling? And I love that you're doing military occasion cards. I am an Air Force brat, lived and grew up on Department of Defense schools, graduated from a DoD school, actually worked my first job in the commissary. So I understand military and lived on bases all my life. Yep, Perfect, perfect. Yes, so that's when we talk about heightened expectations, people are expecting to find that information. They don't want to search heavy and hard, and they really look to the website, the business, or the person that gives them that information that helps educate them, avoid any pitfalls as well, really understand, if you steep it this high, that burns it, but it's steep it at this level, you bring out all the robust flavors. Now they see you as an expert, and people will step over dollars to do business with experts. When people are shopping and comparing us on dollars alone, we become a commodity. And then we're no different than the, tea that you could grab at any other retail boutique, at your grocery store. We don't get to stand out. So this is how you stand out, by being able to meet people where their expectations are now. And we know that, especially with the onslaught of AI, people have an expectation that they can find information quickly, and that they can speak full sentences out, and they can search a website to find the information that they're looking for fully. So there is that expectation. And because of that, it's on us to be able to meet that within our e-commerce stores. So again, that heightened expectation is something I want you to be aware of. I also want you to be aware of that people do look. In fact, they look at 5 different places whenever they're trying to make a decision. So they look at 5 different sources, and you need to think about, where can people find you? If they find you on your website, where else do they find you? Where are you sharing information? Where are people also sharing information about you too? And then also, because of AI, we see that 15% of searches are brand new every day, have never been seen before. Now, I want you to sink that in for a minute, because it means that people have significantly changed the way that they search. So SEO before 2024 is a lot different than search engine optimization going into the end of 2024, starting 2025, right? Because our behavior has changed 15%. So a trillion searches every single day happen on Google, and 15% of them are brand new, never before seen. Google's been in existence since 2004. It is the biggest library of the World Wide Web. And for it to see 15% new searches every single day, that really is significant for us as small businesses to realize that people are searching differently. The good thing with us as small businesses is we can be personal and we can be nimble. While larger companies have to really do a lot, from putting committees together and surveys to be able to reach out to their customers, you can have a real close relationship with your customers, even your e-commerce customers, because I can tell you that as you started your e-commerce business, you tested your idea out on some people. You wanted to see what they thought, and they can help you with being able to understand how people are searching and what they need. We also know that people search visually. So as you put products into your e-commerce store, it's really important for us to have a visual idea of that. So Michael, for example, virtual consulting is what you said you do. So how can you package that in a visual way? Either you can show what it looks like when you're in a Zoom, a Google Meet, or a Teams meeting, what that looks like if you're doing FaceTime, what it looks like when they're getting all the spreadsheets, how they feel, how they're happy when they worked with you in virtual consulting, what the results look like. Those are some great visuals that help you get seen. Maybe even the tools of the trade that you use, from your camera to your desktop to that you've got a spreadsheet that you work with, can help give them a visual that's a little bit more tangible, at least in their mind, to be able to see what you do, and also to help the search engine see, because people do search by visual. So Google Lens, you've actually had AI for a long time. Google Lenses have been in existence for over 8 years now. It was on when I came on the Google team 7.5 years ago, to be able to bring my small business experience, because I'm still in the trenches, everybody. So I know what it's like to be able to still do that and take care of customers. I'm not in a cubicle. I actually work in this every day. So because of that, I know that this was new, Google Lens. You saw it in Android or iOS, which is your iPhone, and you can snap a picture of things and we'll search virtually. Well, Amazon has that included now in Amazon search. So people have learned and leaned into being able to search in that format. Now I see a question. Let me look at this question real quick. Recommendation for the best AI software for card design. Oh, yeah, that's a hard one to spell properly. There are, I hear Midjourney's pretty well. There's some with Pika Labs. I can't remember it right offhand, Stephen, but there's a few with Pika Labs that I've heard of really great with the text, because I know a lot do mess up the text side, and that can be frustrating, right? Now, retailers, you do need to be online because this, again, remember, people are living online. They're not just searching online. Even in the store, you see them with their phone as they're talking to somebody, wanting to find out what's needed on the list or being able to compare, is this what you want or this? This is this price point. This has this much percentage of this. So they're actually actively searching with their phone on them, and they are looking at that information. So a lot of times people, especially if they're in mainstream America, think that people are not going to utilize online as much, that they are actually going to come in their front door, and they probably will. But most people who come in the front door have done their research already here. 84% of us go first to a mobile device when we want to know, go do or buy. And we carry this in our pocket, backpacks, purses, bags, everywhere that you can think of. So as you think about that, are you showing up there? Because people may not even walk in your door if they don't know that you have that brand or even an inventory. So as we look here, e-commerce sales has definitely grown, and we don't see that going away. Just like we don't see AI going away, there's been a huge shift with that, right? And a best way, Stephen, you brought up about AI, and I was thinking about the fact that AI, the install or the onslaught of an AI is the fact that people actually treat this like it is electricity when it first came on board. When electricity, not too long ago, became something that was initiated into our nation, it was take it or leave it. If you had a kerosene stove and a kerosene, or you had a wood burning stove and a kerosene lamp, you're good to go. You worked in the day, you worked on the farm. You didn't need that kind of light. Now there's a heightened expectation, right? That when we go into a room, we flip that switch, we have our phone with us, it turns on instantly. So we have that expectation. The same is happening with AI as we think of that being able to proliferate across all that we're actually doing in our lives. So when we see what e-commerce sales are doing, when we see that Amazon controls over 37% of the market, we see there's an opportunity. Now, there is high customer acquisition cost, and that's because a lot of people don't know what to measure or what they're looking at with e-commerce. So it could be acquiring new customers is heavy, or it could be exactly the information that we're putting out there, and are we searched in a way that is helpful to people, or that can help them connect with us. Because one of Google's algorithm, or factors in Google's algorithm, is what's known as relevance. How well do you match what people are searching for? So if you, let's say, have an overhead door company, right? And you say everywhere on your website, on your Google business profile, all your social profiles and bios, that you are the best, most amazing overhead door company in the world, and somebody goes into search on Google Gemini and says, hey Google, hey Alexa, I need somebody to fix my broken garage door. Does that match? We're the most amazing overhead door company. I need somebody to fix my garage door. Does Google understand that that's one and the same? Because it's an algorithm, right? It's a computer. It's looking for that recognition. It's looking for that pattern and form. And is it matching? Because it's on us to be able to be relevant and to match exactly the words that people search with. Not what we would have searched with when we first started our business, because now we have experiential knowledge and we don't always remember it with clarity. But what are people actively searching right now? So when we look at the e-commerce landscape, it's growing. There are still traditional revenue streams, so you can have brick and mortar and e-commerce as well. Plus, there's so many opportunities with affiliate sales, with drop shipment. So you have so many different things that you can do, even digital downloads and sources like you're doing, Michael, visual consultation. And then, of course, that implementation does still require customer expertise. So that's very important. So one of the things, just so that you guys know, I want to help you with all your questions, and I'm going to try to slow down to do that. But if it takes a paragraph or a couple of sentences to write it, it takes about a minute for me to read it. And all you see is the top of my head. So it's not a good learning experience for everybody. So I just wanted to give you fair warning that I'm not trying to ignore you, but I might ask you to repost a question that you asked right now later into Q&A. Now, during Q&A, I will stop the recording because I don't want you to reveal anything confidential during then. And it is for the people that stay in the room, but I do want to let you know that I'm not ignoring you, but I might just overlook that because it might be too much for me to read while I'm presenting at the same time. Okay, just wanted to give you guys a heads up. All right, so thinking about how our customers move through search, how do they go there? Because it's not just, hey, they go to one site. Remember, 5 different sources. So when you think about when somebody needs a gift, do they start looking at and maybe watching videos happening on YouTube, or maybe they see some TikToks or Instagram stories? Do they move along and then they go do some reading? They become educated, they visit some sites, they get an idea of what are the different packages or the different variations that could come. It could be from that. All right, let me see if I can do this while the screen is up. Um, for oh no, I'm reading it too fast. I have to slow down here. On unique benefits, a certain recipes. I want to create a tribe of followers. We're buying a box to a regular. Yes. So you want to sell an experience. So how are you going to package that experience? And how are you going to find the right people who are aligned with wanting that experience? Okay. So we'll talk about that. Now, Candida, one of the things that also you need to be aware of is the marketing funnel. All of us do. Exactly what does that funnel look like? So the funnel basically is awareness. That's the biggest part. Consideration, which is where they consider whether or not you can help them, you can support them. Do you have the products they need? Do you have the expertise they need? Then conversion, that's the success action that happens on your site. It could be that they buy from you, more than likely in e-commerce, that's that they buy from you. It could be that they enter their contact information, download a form, watch a video all the way through, or they call you. So it could be any of those things. And then loyalty is at the very bottom. How do you engage current customers and have them walk you into their contact sphere of people that know, like, and trust them? So how do you take advantage of that? And also the fact that you want them to come back and to buy from you. A lot of times people don't buy from you again, not because they didn't love you, but because they forgot about you. We're inundated every single day with 12,400 messages, and that's a lot. So we forget, even though we might think somebody's amazing, we forget, and we have a tendency to reach at arm's length. So how are you staying in communication and relationship with a customer? Because transactions are one thing. Transactional relationships are very weak, and again, we become commodities. But when you can have a true relationship with a customer, people will walk over dollars before they break a relationship or what they may even consider a friendship. So when you look at the customer journey, some of the questions to ask and in the marketing funnel, as you see where you may be stuck or where you might need assistance, these are some of the things to think about. If you're stuck at consideration, like people are aware, you've got brand awareness like crazy, but you don't know that they're considering you, or they never seem to do any of the conversion actions. They never watch a video, they never share their contact information. So what are you doing to help them find those answers for consideration? Again, this takes them through some of the biggest questions that we see where people get stuck and that they need to ask with the marketing funnel. Now, one of the tools that people also overlook often is in email marketing. For those of you that have an email commerce store, if you're utilizing email marketing, put the number 1 in the chat box, okay? All right, let me know. And just let me know in the chat box if you're using email marketing. If you are not utilizing email marketing, you are leaving a lot of money on the table. Remember what I said, I've been 16 years in international e-commerce. I will tell you by far that email marketing is one of the top 2 to 3 revenue channels for any e-commerce store that I've worked with. And I have worked with over hundreds of e-commerce stores. And those that do really well have a really strong, very structured email marketing program. All right. So Lauren, you're using, yep. Okay, perfect. All right. So Lauren, do you use it when, for example, when people are coming to your site, or they sign up to be able to look at offers, right? Looking at offers or getting the first news. So a lot of times when people do that, that's what's known as a welcome series. But you'll look here, there's more than just one item that needs to be what's known as a flow, an email marketing transactional flow. There actually needs to be 8 into any e-commerce store. There needs to be 8 to be profitable. Understand, we still go to email when we want to check on receipts and invoices, when we want to find out an itinerary, or if we're planning a trip, we still go to email first. So a lot of people think email marketing is dead. It is so not dead if you give people value. And if they're buying something that will help them or that they really have been looking forward to, then now you're giving them value as long as you're following up with information that still does align with that and honors the reason why they actually signed up or they bought from you. So first is welcome series. You have to, this is just welcome. You signed up to be a part of the email list and you're welcoming them. You're saying hello. What's site abandonment? That means I go to your website, right? And I don't see anything going on there. Nothing looks like what I want it to. You said you were going to take me to the heirloom tomato recipes, and it looks like just a bunch of stuff about growing things, not how to make tomato recipes. So because of that, now I'm confused and I just X out. So that's site abandonment. When we go for the X for the corner, or if you're on your mobile device and you're tapping and you're heading there to the X or you're about to swipe up, is a lot of the actions what happen whenever you're on mobile device. So now you'll see a pop-up for email marketing that comes up about, you know what, you want to know the greatest information. We'll keep you updated as we put very, different colors or different variations. For whatever reason, somebody might site abandon you and now you're going to follow them and you want to send an email so you don't lose that contact information. Because even on socials, if all socials went down today, all your socials, how would you stay connected with somebody? What would you do? Do you have a strategy to capture their email address? Because if you don't, then you are in dangerous place because you never know when socials are going to decide to unpublish your page for whatever, it could be for no good reason, but a bot decided that you're doing something spammy and scammy, and now you've got to take the next 21 to 27 days to prove that you weren't. There's also browse abandonment. What does that mean? That means I've gone around the site, looked around, didn't do anything, but at least I looked at more than one page. So now again, I'm going to that X out, but we've been able to track, you know what, you've been on at least 2 or 3 different pages, and now you're going to sign up. We're going to ask you to sign up for email, and our follow-up emails for you might be a whole lot different compared to somebody with site abandonment. With browse abandonment, it could be not what you're looking for, or you looked at these 4 items and they're great because they're going on sale today and you might want to take advantage of that. So it could be that. Cart abandonment is just like it sounds. When we're in a grocery store, we've seen people pushing along, putting everything in there, and then all of a sudden they just abandon it, even the cold items, right? And we grumble, and we see and have seen it. And that's exactly what cart abandonment is. They abandon the cart. They could be doing cost comparison. You can actually track to see whether or not they went to your socials to go see your credibility, or they could have gone to actually look at your competitors too. So it could be any of those things, but cart abandonment behavior, again, if you're remember what I said about people have heightened expectations. 66% expect you to have personal recommendations for them. Not in a creepy way, like, oh my gosh, I saw you doing this, but more in a way of like you would at a store. For example, if a store you saw somebody walking around and they went to this shelf and this rack and this shelf, you would wonder, as they're wandering around and they don't seem really focused, or maybe they look like they're looking for something, you would come up and say, is there something that I can help you with? Now, you would actually do this in an e-commerce store with email marketing. Now, checkout abandonment is a whole lot different, just so that you know. Cart abandonment is when we just leave everything in the cart. Checkout abandonment is when you've put all your information in. So you have your product in there, you put your email, all your contact information, and the last thing you need to put is your financial information. So when you see checkout abandonment, what you're actually seeing is either they're having buyer's remorse already, or they're not sure they want to put their financial information here. So when you have trust factors on your checkout page, like reviews, those actually heighten the ability that you're going to be able to make that sale because they get confirmation they're not making a bad decision and that you're a real business. It could also be in checkout abandonment, though, that maybe they have a Visa and you only take MasterCard. Maybe they have Venmo and you only take PayPal. Maybe they need payments in 4 payments and you don't have ShopPay or Klarna, you only have PayPal or you have Stripe. So it could be any of those reasons that you might not have the financial tool where they have everything in, or could just be simply that it's human behavior. I work with a lot of businesses that work and they focus and target women who are ages 35 to 54 years old, busy professionals. The best time that they shop for retail items is at 2:22 in the morning. So when you're sitting in your cozy bed at 2:22 in the morning and you're shopping along there with your phone, and all of a sudden it asks for, now you want to pay, do you want to get up across the room to get out of your bag or wallet your credit card number, or will you use something like Amazon Pay, PayPal, Venmo, Google Pay, Apple Pay? Will you use someplace that already has your financial information? They will use someplace and go somewhere else faster than they will get out of that nice cozy bed, right? So thank you is just like it sounds. They bought something from you. Thank you. Replenishment. This could be that maybe you have a consumable and they need to replenish it every 20 or 30 days. So every 20 days or 15 days, you want to remind them that you're there and you can help them out, and they'd save a lot. Plus, they wouldn't have to worry about making all these terrible buying decisions. Or it could be something longer term. Maybe you have something that they won't buy for the next year, or maybe even longer, the next 7 years. So how can you stay top of mind? Remember what I said about people could love you, but now they leave you because they forgot about you, not because they didn't love you. And so when you can stay top of mind, you can talk about, you know what? Um, if it's time for you to, even if you're selling a house, which is one of the longer term buying cycles, it could be, you're staying in contact with them and finding out now they have a kiddo that has, that buys a car and they're about to graduate from high school. So you start asking the question of, are you looking for a home? Are you looking for a rental place for your kiddo as they go to college? You see how you can stay in relationship because you're paying attention to those life moments and those moments when they might be making another buying decision and could be reaching out to your competitor if you're not there. Now, the sunset is what it sounds like. Somebody has been getting your email all the time, and now they're not opening at all. You've just seen it for the last 3 months. They're not opening, they don't click on, they don't do anything. It's important to look at this because email service providers like Klaviyo, like Constant Contact, like Google, like Yahoo, like Hotmail, like AOL, all look at what's known as deliverability rates, right? So if they can deliver to an inbox, that's better that it gets open. If not, you're more than likely to show up in the promotions tab, which is just a step above being in the spam folder. So you're not seen is what happens there. So in a sunset actual email sequence, you're asking somebody, listen, if you don't want to get this anymore, I don't want to stress out your inbox. Let me go ahead and get out of this, and you can just opt out. Here's how you can unsubscribe. So that works well. Understand, of all of these right here that I'm sharing with you, these 8, the most profitable one is sunset, because people get busy and they still want the information. And then when you can say, hey, do you want to stay on our list? Because I've got this extra $5 gift off for you. If you do, they will stay on your list, and they're more likely not just to buy then, but to buy immediately afterwards for at least 2 or 3 other times they're going to buy. So that sunset is the most profitable of all of these. It's the one almost always forgotten too. So just so that you know that, I wanted to give you that little tidbit here. The best email marketing company, Stephen, there are so many. I mean, it depends on your business because there's Constant Contact. That's more if you're a personal brand or a consultant or training related. So that works really well. But there are some that are very transactional focused, like Active Campaign, ConvertKit, which is now Kit. Klaviyo. So there's so many. I don't want to say one or the other because it depends on your volume. There's MailChimp as well, which can do a little bit of consultant and a little bit of e-commerce. But there are some that are really heavy in e-commerce and can even do things like if they know the 4 pages that you visited, then they would recommend those 4 like military occasion cards to them to make sure that they didn't forget about it when they were searching around and they might have gotten distracted by a text or something else happening in life, right? All right. How can you get seen by Google when you have an e-commerce store? That's a lot with email marketing. And I know I spent some time on that, but I wanted to because it is such a profitable revenue channel. And it's, I mean, 99% of the time when I come in to look at an e-commerce store, they've left all that money on the table because they don't have a very strong or structured email marketing program following up that's really, or campaigns that are following up with that revenue channel. Now on Google, where can your products actually show up? A few places. So let me show you, of all of these spokes here, the only one that costs you anything are shopping ads. That's it. That is the only one. Everything else on this wheel is 100% free, but people don't take advantage of it because they believe myths like they think I'm e-commerce, I can't use my business profile. Yes, you can. There are creative ways to use that and to showcase your products. Or, excuse me, I don't want to pay for ads, so I'm not going to use Google Merchant Center. But there's so much you can use in Google Merchant Center that's 100% free. Why wouldn't you use that? So as we look at products, for example, just even using your business profile, you can showcase your product this way. Now imagine I was at a fair or at my friend's house and I saw these amazing spices. I know what they look like. I'm looking for them. So now I'm doing a visual search. Can I find you as a potential provider? Are you not even considered in that? So understand, if people don't know you exist, they can't do business with you. So simple enough, with your Google business profile, you can just put your products in there and your price range. You've got a nice visual for those of you who work virtually or have virtual products. Package it and think about what the end result looks like for people that they'll be looking for when they're done doing business with you. This is how your product actually appears. So it's there. Again, if you want a copy of today's slides, just because you might want to slow down through some of these slides that I'm doing and even speed me up through a recording or repeat me in the recording that you'll receive later today or tomorrow, then you definitely do want a copy of the slides in the handout. They'll also be emailed out to you. But if you'd like to follow along, I just dropped the link in the chat box so that you can download them. Okay. So you can see a lot of tools on how to get started at that bottom left-hand corner at google.com/business. Now, remember what I said, that's your Google business profile. Your Google Merchant Center is one where people believe that you have to pay for it for Google Ads. But that's so not true. It is 100% free to use a lot of it, not the ads portion. You can do ads, but you don't have to do ads. So when you're utilizing your Google Merchant Center, this is where your product can actually show up. So let me show you in these next few slides what that looks like, okay? You can actually do things like show up in Google Images, right? So you know you can show up in Google Search, but you can show up in Google Images. And understand, when people are looking in Google search and all they find is you, if they're looking for these amazing wood chairs and it's all about you, then that truly elevates you in their mind that you're the best at what you do. And it doesn't matter whatever the budget is that we have. We only want to do business with the best in their area of business or their craft. So as you look here in Google Images, 100% for free, by making sure your products are seen by Google and utilizing Google Merchant Center, you can show up in images. And remember what I said to you about 12 billion searches earlier in this presentation, 12 billion searches visual every single month. So as we look at this, being able to see the products, if you put your prices or price range there, then you'll see that little product annotation, which looks like a price tag. You can also see with going to Merchant Center, how you get started is you'll use that URL at the bottom left-hand corner. You're going to create an account. You're going to upload your products or connect your products. I'll walk you through how to do that in a moment. Again, that's why you often want a copy of the slides, because it's like an outline for you. And then how you can show your products across Google. So here are some of the key things to know if Google Merchant Center is a good fit for you. First, the people have to be able to buy it directly from you. So do you have a secure checkout process, right? Do you have a secure site? You'll notice there, as we look at that website address, you see the circle of HTTPS. Understand that is not just for Google Merchant Center, that's also for Google Search. One of the biggest penalties that you can get from Google, and which really pushes you lower in search, is to not have a secure site. If your site, oops, somebody's got their microphone on. If you'll make sure you turn your microphone off because we are recording, I'd appreciate it. All right. So if you'll put that, you'll look and make sure that your site is secure. This is so important because the secure site is something that Google wants to give people who are searching, who are users of Google's platform or Google search engine. If you're not a secure site, then you could be spammy, scammy. They could lose their financial information, their personal information. So Google actually penalizes that and puts you lower. Well, you cannot use Google Merchant Center if you don't have a secure site. So not only is it penalized, but it blocks you from completely utilizing this tool. And this tool is 100% free. So as you set yourself up in Google Merchant Center and Google Business Profile, you can get ready for shoppers as you learn how people, and you look at the insights, you learn how people are consuming information on the different tools. And the reason you want to do this is because you want to know your shopper best. It's all on us to be able to be experts of our customers. So a lot of times when people search in maps, let me bring that front and center again. When people are searching on maps, that means in the next 24 to 72 hours, they are going to make a big buying decision about this particular product. And they're probably going to come into your site or somebody else's site. It really is who wins their attention. So that's what we know from maps is people are looking to see who has that brand or that product in town and do they have it in stock. It's also important that we make our payment process simple. So while I'm giving you all these marketing tips of where you can show up with Google, remember what I told you about professional women shopping in their bed and not wanting to get up to get their credit card out. Think about that. How many different options do you give them with this? Working with a business right now that I'm helping streamline things. And right now, the only way that you can pay is through PayPal. So I explained to them, you rule out a lot of people who want payment in installments or people who utilize Google Pay because they just feel that's more secure and they don't like the percentages of PayPal, or the same with MetaPay. So they are now putting in other payment forms, and that's really them just taking the time to do that and put that in place. Also, just a little quick hint for everybody. Remember what I said about mobile devices? 84% of us go here first. When they are shopping on a mobile device, a lot of us will put little chat bots on our sites to be helpful with questions, but it'll show up here at the bottom right-hand corner of our phone. Now understand that that is great maybe for visual, but I encourage you to move it to the side. And why is that? Because what you want to do with your payment forms and your checkout buttons is you want to put them either all the way across so people can reach them and tap anywhere, or at least on the right-hand side. See how far our thumb can get? I'm a lefty, right? And so still I hold my phone in my right hand, and that's as far as my thumb can get. So you'll see a lot of e-commerce stores will actually have that button, that payment button, or that add to cart button, hover there at that bottom half as they even scroll, because they know people are more likely to make that purchase, that more emotional purchase, when they can get to that button right away. Little tip for you guys. All right, also think mobile first. I talked to you about the fact if your site is not secure, then you could be penalized, or you are penalized by Google because it needs to be a secure site. But another penalty, one of the other bigger penalties, is the fact that if your site's not mobile friendly or mobile responsive. What that means is if you have to pinch and zoom to see your site or read your site on a mobile device or swipe side to side to finish a sentence, that means you're not mobile responsive or mobile friendly, and you will be penalized by Google. Plus, it's not a great experience for people since 84% of us go to a mobile device first when we want to know, go, do, or buy. Now, the next section is about expanding your reach, but I want to stop for a moment to see if there are any questions, because the next part I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, but there are a lot of slides about it. So I want to hit some high points in the slides, but I don't want to spend a lot of time if it's not of interest to you, because you might just be trying to figure out right now how you're going to do e-commerce and do that within the United States or maybe in your local area. Any questions so far? Let me know in the chat box in case I missed any of the lengthy questions. All right. Understand that every tool that I've shared with you today is 100% free. You can use Google Merchant Center for free, just not the ad part. You can do ads, but it does a whole lot more. And it gets you shown in Google Lens and Google Images and Google Shopping, which is the comparison tab, within Google. Google Business Profile is 100% free. Well, here's a question. Where can we find products to drop ship on one's website? Oh, there are so many different tools. A lot of people, I would Google search that, but there's a lot through like AliExpress. You can look at, it depends if you're okay with doing business and picking up products internationally. That's up to you. There's a tool that I know a lot of businesses use, a site called Dropshipman. They'll use that because it does a better job keeping up with their inventory, and they don't have to learn the inventory side of it. Not right away. You eventually want to do that because it becomes more profitable for you, but you can learn that there. Yes, I do, Stephen. But understand, remember, I'm a bootstrap marketer. I love free or small fee. So you have amazing SCORE mentors who can help you 100% for free. And they're in your local area. So I love when people can do business with local businesses and they have that experience so they can let you know, Stephen, who's good to work with, who might be a good personality or business, where you're at in your business fit, right? So I want to make sure that you don't not reach out to this resource first, okay? Because they're really there to help you and they want to. This is another 100% free tool. You can get there by going to g.co/market finder. So let's say we have our e-commerce store and we've decided that we want to expand past our region, maybe the entire United States, or maybe we're thinking Canada or Mexico, or maybe even across the pond to London or to anywhere in Europe could be where our potential customer is. Or maybe we're even seeing that. We're looking at our reports and we see that we have a lot of customers buying from Spain and they're paying almost the same amount, if not more, for the product because they're buying from Spain. So we want to decide where's the best place for us to expand out to that would make sense to at least reach and get the right shipping or even have a warehouse there or to do business with even affiliates there who could help us. So what you can do is go to Market Finder and it'll do that research for you. Put your business site there, so the URL, the website link into Market Finder. You're going to look at it, it's going to read your website, and it's going to determine what the categories are, the business categories. You can add a category if it's not there, confirm it, or X out any of the categories. Like if, you know what, we're not about gifts. We're Strider bikes and we're $200, so we're not, a gift, or $2,000 and we're not considered in gift range. Really, that's your decision. You have a chance to look through that. Once you look through that, then you can let Google Market Finder know, do you want to sell? Are you looking for new markets within the US or are you looking globally? You can use either or, not both at the same time, just so you know. It will then recommend to you the top markets of where you can actually do business. So in this case, for Strider Bikes, it gave Germany, United Kingdom, and France. Now, if I didn't want to do business with Germany for any reason, I could X that out, and then it would bring up whatever is the next in running of that list of the best recommended markets. So what you'll do next then is complete your profile. So you'll need to put your information in to get the full report, right? Again, you're sharing, it'll show what information you're sharing, and you're going to sign up with Google through this. Now, this is a little bit different from your Google account or your Gmail account because you're signing up specifically for Google Market Finder. So now you can see when that report comes in, and it's usually right within a few minutes, you'll get that report. Once you've done that, you'll be able to see and look through the top markets. Again, you can X out the markets that you don't want to consider at all for whatever reason. You can now, as you see in that tab, navigate through Google Market Finder and look at the country profile and get an idea of the population size, what's the language spoken, and then the corruption percentage index. Okay, that's something important. Do they, do you need to, how hard is it to get past customs? Is payment or bribes a part of their normal culture and way of doing business? You need to know that. How much of shipments actually make it and are delivered and how much are actually stolen? You need to know that as well to be able to make good buying decisions. You can also look at their economic profiles. What's their purchasing power? What's their household income? Because you might already have an idea of who that best customer is and what their household income or their disposable income needs to be. You can click on another tab next to that, which gives you an idea of the logistics. What does it take to get there? Because I've done international e-commerce, a lot of people don't realize all of the different pieces that you have to make decisions and have in place when you're bringing things across the world. So the business that I was working with, one started in New York, one started in the Los Angeles area. They started to expand out. One went to Canada, one decided to go to Australia, a whole lot different in what they had to deal with manufacturing, with customs tax, with whether or not they need a bank or an accountant at each of the different countries, whether or not they have to deal with things coming on air or boat, and drayage, which what drayage is the payment that you make for people to take it from a truck. So you might think that the trucker's going to unload something when it pulls up to your dock. No, no, no. The trucker will bring it to the dock. The dock people will wait at their dock, and they're waiting for, okay, somebody put it down here. But there's got to be an in-between person, and that's the cost of drayage to be able to take it from the truck to the platform. And a lot of people don't think about that. And they pay a lot of emergency money because they find out when they get the phone call from the trucker or from the warehouse that there's nobody here to be able to transfer it. So it's important for you to know what the logistics are at your different country and how are you going to handle that if you're dealing with distance, time zones, and languages, right? Also, look online because maybe your business is online. So you want to see what kind of monthly searches do they have? Where are they active on? Are they more mobile friendly or are they using more Androids? Are they using more iPhones? Because that can help you make a better decision on how to present information to them too, or whether or not this is aligned with who your best customer is. You can also see those tabs are a wealth of information and you can see their purchasing behavior. So you can see exactly how much internet they're using, so what kind of searches they're doing during different stages, and whether or not you can see, if they're doing their online, how do they shop online? Are they utilizing devices? Do they have good, strong internet? Are they more mobile services based? What is it that they're actually doing in that particular country? Or remember what I said, while this is looking at country, you can also look at different states too. So you might have decided to do a domestic search and that's what you wanted to do. And the last piece to thrive at e-commerce. So you need to know, right? You need to understand the free Google tools to work with so you can find and get found in search. What works for Google works well for any other search engine. Really understand what words people are searching with. You need to understand e-commerce real well. How can you present it in a way that provides the less friction so you make it easy for people to buy from you all day long? You need to understand email marketing. It is really a great revenue channel that most small businesses miss, and they will leave and lose their business before they ever engage email marketing. And it's such a valuable tool. So I'm encouraging you to start as quickly as possible to use that tool because that can help you stay in a really deeper relationship with your customers. You need to understand your marketing funnel. Where are you in it? Do you need a lot of awareness? People don't know you exist, or do they know you exist? You've got a lot of brand awareness, but you don't have a lot of trust factors and consideration, and you're not addressing the questions that people are asking. So it's important for you to take these slides and follow along. But the last part of this is to really understand your buyer's awareness and where are they in that buying cycle, because a lot of times the messaging that we put on our website or that we even post on social is something that's at a different stage than they are. So for example, if your buyer is unaware that there is a problem, then if you're talking in all of your posts saying, this is how you solve this problem, 1, 2, 3, and they're looking at it thinking, what problem? There's no problem, then you are not connecting and resonating with your buyer. But let's say you have a buyer that you know is solution aware. Not only do they know they have a problem, so they're past stage 2, but they're at stage 3, they're solution aware. They know, okay, I don't need to struggle with this. There are solutions to this. I need to find that solution. So now they're looking for who they can trust or what the products are. Now, if you are that person who can say, you know what, so I'm going to play with Candida for a moment here. Let's say, I don't know that there's a problem with my tea. I think that's the way tea tastes. I didn't understand that. I oversteeped it and I boiled it and it didn't need to be at boiling water. So I think that's just the way it is. But now I realize, you know what? Tea has different flavors. And somebody maybe introduced me to the fact that, oh my gosh, if I don't boil it, overboil it, now it really brings out those robust tea flavors. And I taste the differences that people have been telling me about that I've always wondered, why am I not tasting it? Is it just me and my taste buds? So now I'm starting to become solution aware. But then all of a sudden, you come along, Candida, and you start talking about, well, not only do you need to know this, but how long you store your tea. This is how you do this, how you can become aware of these. These are packages. We were able to show you exactly how long this tea is good. It's available when it expires, how you need to use it. So you start showcasing to them that you are not only a solution, but you've got the product for them and you are the expert because you're telling them some things about, oh, you need to look at this with your Homicha tree and you need to, or your Genmaicha tree, and this is what you need to consider. Make sure you refrigerate it. And they're realizing, oh my gosh, she saved me from throwing out bags of tea. Now she's the expert, and they will step over dollars to do business with you, right? I have shared a lot of information with you. So for you now, your next step is, what are you going to do next? Knowledge is not powerful until it's applied. Are you going to look at the Google tools? Are you going to look at your email marketing? Are you going to understand your marketing funnel? Maybe see where people are in their buyer awareness. So it could be any of those. All right. Remember what I said about a bootstrap marketer. So I always share with what's free or what's small fee. And really it's free here because you're looking at SCORE. So everything that I'm looking at when you're working with SCORE is free because SCORE is so amazing and your mentors are so helpful. So if you want me to do a site audit, so this is a free SEO site audit that will help you know exactly what Google is seeing about your site. You can utilize this free site audit. It's 100% free. Okay, you can look at this. Once you get the results, then you might want to talk to your SCORE mentor about that to see locally who can support you. Maybe you see 2 or 3 priorities there you need to focus on, or maybe you have 10 different items and they know somebody, even a web designer or developer who might be able to help you with that, or somebody who understands Google Analytics. If you want to connect with me, this is where you can connect with me because I love to hear when you applied what you learned. I love when a SCORE mentor will email me saying that this person that they're working with came to my training and now they've applied this and this is what they're doing. I get to celebrate ×2 with a SCORE mentor and also with the business. So I love doing that. You'll see the bit.ly link at the very top, bit.ly, find Maria. It'll bring up all my socials. Just connect with me on the social that you use most. Happy to do that there. And I also like to model what I teach, which is if you've given good product or good information or services, always ask for a review. People often will leave you a review and intended to, but they forgot and they got busy. Now, I'm not requiring that, but I would be so honored if you would leave me a review. And now let's go into Q&A. All right, because I know there might be some questions. I covered quite a bit. So let me go ahead and look at the screen for Q&A. Or it could be, we're top of the hour, Bill, and they may be ready to go. But I just want to give everybody a chance, if you do have some questions, before you go off and decide what is it that you're going to apply first. Oh, you're welcome, Maria. You're welcome, Michael. Either Maria's fine. Maria's fine. Thank you. We're friends here, right? So Maria's great. In the description, I said streamlining operation. Could you say more on that, please? Oh, streamlining your e-commerce operation. So when you're looking, so what tool do you use, Michael, for your e-commerce? Do you use WooCommerce? Do you use Shopify? Squarespace? What's your CMS? That's your content management system. Okay, none. I would recommend that you find one because it's really, really hard to do all the things that CMSs can do. So a content management system helps you not only lay out your pages, but it helps you remember in your product description that you need to put specifics, maybe even dimensions, if you have jewelry, chain length, maybe jewelry color, maybe the amount or percentage of the different products. It reminds you of that. It gives you slots to remember also that when you look at Amazon, for example, most Amazon product listings have at least 7 photos. So that's a given. Amazon, remember, has set the stage, heightened expectations. So on any e-commerce site that I'm working with or business, I tell them you've got to have 7 different photos because there's an expectation of that. 5 need to be regular photos, lifestyles, maybe even call outs. 1 needs to be a video that's giving a 360, and 1 needs to show your product in the wild. Okay, what it looks like, more than just the white background. Okay. But definitely utilize that because that's going to help you streamline your operation. Then you can connect things like Google Merchant Center, which will connect for free with all those other tools too. You can connect Google Analytics. You can connect your email marketing, which I love email marketing to lean into what's happening on the website because it's a lot that you don't have to manually do. And you can focus on providing great product or service for your customers. Oh, thank you, Stephen. I'm glad I've been helpful. Thank you. What are some great CMSs? I'm a big fan though, so I'm going to tell you I'm biased because I have worked on a little over 100 Shopify stores. So I love Shopify. It's affordable. It's really easy for users. So it's got a lot of ease to it. The downfall of Shopify is that sometimes the themes, because a lot of people will sell, or Shopify includes free themes. When I say themes, it's the color, the photos, the border. So it's the way, the look of the site. Sometimes those are pretty hefty. When I say hefty, it means that they take 3.8 seconds to load on a mobile device, and you only have 1.2 seconds. That's all people will wait for your site to load on mobile. So if you've got a layout or a theme that's 3.8 seconds, that's too long. So you need to, with those tools or with Shopify, you just need to test out the themes, because there's some beautiful, beautiful sites, but they take too long to load. And so it doesn't make a difference if people don't see it, because they're not patient enough to hang around to actually see the site. WooCommerce is also good too. A lot of good plug and play in WooCommerce. So I think I've worked with over a dozen WooCommerce sites, and I find them easy to use as well. Squarespace can also do e-commerce. It is really pretty good with and competes with the others. I think its only downfall is some of the tracking of product. So it's just a little bit, it's not as hefty, but they're getting better, right? Everybody's getting better with AI. Doing it manually though, like doing it on a Google site, which Google sites, the free Google sites that you can get, free websites are not built for that. They're not built for e-commerce. So they're great for information. So they don't do as well. WordPress alone does not do as well. You have to utilize a lot of apps within that, because a lot of people will utilize WordPress because they want to put a membership site together for that. But you can do that as well, Candina, with Shopify. You can come up with a membership site in there, or even with WooCommerce, or you might want to keep your e-commerce somewhere else and your membership site somewhere. You might want to use socials to do that with a Facebook group. You might want to use Circle or Discord or Slack to keep it somewhere separate. Those are some of the things that as tools that you can look at, but I know that you're trying to put together something with a membership is what you mentioned earlier. So you might want to look at the tools that do best with that too. You're very welcome, Michael. How familiar are you with you? Um, well, you know what, Stephen, I'm pretty familiar with them as far as seeing their marketing. Now, seeing the results, I've not seen that. I've seen a couple of Google trainers who have worked with them and have had good results. So for those I've seen have been great, but it's been about 2 years since I've seen those designs, so I haven't seen them lately. So I hesitate just because I haven't looked at them lately. So not meaning that they're bad, I just haven't looked at them lately. Um, can you speak to starting drop shipping? Are there any tips, any trends? Popular. Okay, so for drop shipping, Amber, it's first, drop shipping is great. You just have to remember a couple of things with drop shipping is be real honest with your customers about the fact of how you're operating, because if they think that you're all US based, if they're expecting to get something shipped within 24 hours, that doesn't always happen, especially if you're outside of the US. Sometimes the shipping times can be 8 to 17 days. So that's why I tell people when they're doing drop shipping, always test your different products and test the shipping. Find out also how much notice they give you about out of stock. Do you get any warning? Because there's nothing worse than finally you sell something and it's not in stock. So now you have to talk to the customer about store credit. You need to have those policies in place, or do you refund them right away? And how are you going to handle that? Are you prepared to be able to take care of those kind of customer service requests? Right? Because a lot of people think drop ship is set it and forget it. And there's a lot of customer service that has to happen behind it. And your website needs to at least communicate what's happening so you can set expectations. Let me think. What you were asking about trending, though, let me go out to a demo here real quick. If you've got a moment, Bill, are we okay on time? Because I'm just trying to show her where she can look at trends.
It's up to you.
Okay, let me go ahead and look at this real quick. All right, I'm on a Google page. There we go. I'm going to go to g.co/trends. Amber, what products are you looking at? What types of products? Is it clothing, jewelry, furniture? You're welcome, Candida. Amber, are you still here? Clothing. Okay. What kind of clothing? Men's clothing, women's clothing, or women? Okay. So I'm going to say women's clothing. All right. So this is Google Trends. It's 100% free to use. You can see what's trending in search. So for example, for this past day in the United States, and specifically in these 5 states, it'll show you actually 39 states that are actively searching right now. What they're searching for is Amazon's women's clothing clearance, sophisticated women's clothing. So you can get an idea of what they're searching for. They're looking for clearance, they're looking for sophisticated, they're looking for popular clothing brands, they're looking for Maurice's, they're even looking at Western wear is a top topic right there. So maybe you're trying to decide what's trending. It could be some Western wear, but you can lean into what people are actually searching for on Google. And you might want to even get specific. Let's say you're not looking just in the United States, but you're going to look in Indiana. And you want to see who's looking at women's clothing. Not enough in the last day, so I can expand this out to look at the last 30 days. And now I can see where they're looking and what they're looking for. They're looking at Talbot's, Lululemon, so they're looking at athleisure. They're looking for easy women's clothing near me, so it's got to be able to ship fast to them as well. It's Google Trends. Let me drop that here, g.co/trends. Again, it's 100% free. You might even be deciding, you know what, I'm gonna lean into women's clothing, and today I'm gonna post a video about it. So what's the video gonna be? You can go down to YouTube search here, and now you can see, oh, not enough in the past 30 days. That's just because I'm looking at Indiana, so I'm gonna widen it up to the entire United States. And in YouTube, what people are looking for is they wanna see Amazon women's clothing, Macy's, but they also want to see winter clothing and yoga clothing. And they want to discuss sheer fabric. Do they like it? Do they not? How do they check whether or not something is sheer, right? So those are some of the things people are talking about here. Nike. So you can see what people are chatting about, and that can help you make decisions on where the eyeballs already are. So if their eyeballs are already out there, you want to take advantage of that, of course, right? All right. Let's see here. Let me get this out of the way and come back to Q&A. You're very welcome. Any other questions before we finish up, everybody? You've been so gracious. We're 9 minutes past the hour, but I do want to answer your questions if you've got anything so that you can go and apply what you've learned, right? We definitely want to apply that and reach out to our SCORE mentor. Flew by quickly. It did, Candida. It always does, I feel like, but gratefully, SCORE brings me back quite often. So it's not the last time that you'll see me. Plus, they record this. So you'll get a copy of the recording. And again, the handouts, just make sure you downloaded the handouts. All right. I think that is it, Bill, that we are done.
Well, thanks so much, Maria. As always, you do an outstanding job for us. We have her back twice a month, so stay tuned to us. This time next week at noon on the 17th, we have a presentation by a local attorney, top 10 legal mistakes made by small businesses. So if you're interested in that, be sure and register. So thanks a lot, Maria. See you again soon. Thank you all for attending.